The idea behind this was, it came to me actually last spring. I'd been thinking about it for some time. And last spring I thought, oh my gosh, so much is happening here. So many people are doing so many amazing things. We really do need to let everybody know. Because those, you come to work, you do your thing, you don't always know what the person across the hall or down the hall is doing, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to do that. I do want to give you one caveat. I am sorry if I left you out. I inadvertently left some of you out. I know that I did. I tried to pick certain highlights and do the best I could to spread around the credit, but there will be a few people I did not acknowledge. And please know that each and every one of you does work that we value every day. So if it's not acknowledged here, we'll try and get you another way. All right, I wanted to start with our strategic plan. So 4 years ago, thanks to the leadership of Jonathan Whitaker in management, we adopted a strategic plan for the Robbins School. It's coming to an end, but we are going to be revisiting it this year and thinking about how we might want to update it. A little awkward because we'll be getting a new president of the university and we want to wait and see what their plan looks like. So we will probably make modifications to our plan this year and continue along with some new initiatives, and then we'll revisit it in a few years. But the nice thing is that some of it stands the test of time anyhow. When we did the mission statement this time, 4 years ago, we really didn't have to do much to make changes to the prior mission statement. What we do is what we do, and we continue to do it. Didn't need a lot of tweaking. It's very clear, each word in this mission statement tells us something about who we are and what it is we do. So you see international in there, you see a balance of teaching, scholarship, and service, you see a liberal arts university, you see experiential learning. All of those are important pieces of our mission statement, and they are things that we do and think about each day. We have a very lofty vision, aspirational. I've always thought a vision statement should be somewhat aspirational. What we value. I've learned a lot from Richard Coughlin about value-driven leadership over the last few years and how important values are. I love it that we just have 4 because we can all keep them top of mind all the time. I think about each one of these every single day. So these areas, I think, all feed in very nicely to the vision, what we want to do. And what I plan to do now is show you with each one really what we've been doing. And I can tell you that every year we do accomplish certain initiatives in each one of these 4 focal areas. They do drive what we do and what we think about doing, and to some extent what we don't do. Because if it doesn't fit, we may not have the resources or the capacity to carry it out. We'll start with international business. So I had the great fun the other day of standing in here and welcoming 61 students from other countries. 61 from all of the best business schools around the world. How fun is that to have them among us? And I always say one of my favorite days, you're going to hear a few favorite days, but one of my favorite days is actually the end of the semester when they're leaving and I attend the reception. And when I hear them say, oh my gosh, what I picked up at Robbins, I can't wait to take that back to, you name the school, Copenhagen, Bocconi, London School, Tsinghua. Isn't that amazing? They had such a great experience here and they're excited to take that back to one of their other great schools. We account for a lot of the international exchange students who are on this campus. I believe it's about 66% of them across the university are in the Robbins School. And 43% of the students who are studying abroad are our students this semester. So we have a very big study abroad program. I always think it makes for a lot of fun that our fall semester is so different from our spring semester here. That may surprise new people, because if you think about that outflow and that influx of different people in the fall versus in the spring, it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference to our culture and to what we're able to do in our classrooms. We do have some great MBA programs, the international residencies, and Tom Cosset does not pick Paris or London. He's always good about thinking a little bit outside the box and taking people to places where they can really have interesting and different kinds of experiences, and I think that he did that very well last year. This summer, I spent some time with our MBA students. I told Richard I'd like to get to know them a little bit better. He suggested that the summer before he had had coffees with them. So I said, well, let me have some coffees with them. So I set that up, and I learned something about where they like to have coffee. And I got to visit Short Pump, and I got to visit Urban Farmhouse. I got to go all over the city. But one of the things that really impressed me was when I talked to one particular group, they said, I don't think people understand all of the international opportunities available to us in the MBA program outside of the residencies. They have the opportunity to go spend a year at Tsinghua or to go to Neoma and spend a semester. These students were just amazed at the wonderful opportunities they could have outside of the international residency, again, consistent with that international business theme. So international business does drive undergraduates and graduate students. Experiential learning, we do a lot of that. I recently got to participate on an AICPA Future of Learning Task Force, and I learned a lot about competition, gamification, and how important that is. And one of the things I contributed was, I do know that when I tell our students they're going to be in a competition, they'll work much harder than they will in any class. So setting up these competitions is really, really important. And we are seeing that every school under the sun is now offering one. I must get a flyer every day about a competition at a different school. But a lot of our students participated in ones that we held ourselves, ones that others had, and there are some examples. And David North, by the way, runs KB, does a fabulous job with that. If you have any interest in learning more about these or hear about a competition, or your students come to you and say they want to participate, please do let him know. Of course, there are a lot of other activities as well. We do field trips. We connect with companies and do projects for them. A lot of experiential learning. I've noticed this increases every year, and it seems to me that almost as much learning takes place outside of the classroom these days as inside. More experiential learning. Shelley Burns spoke a little bit earlier about Q Camp. I want to really acknowledge what Shelley's done with it. We had a program, I think, when I came here where we took about 50 students off campus in Q Camp. Last year, we had 144 sophomores who went. We had 126 volunteers. She's been able to build this incredible network of people who like to come to Q Camp and be engaged with the students, and that includes 34 faculty. I couldn't be more appreciative of the faculty we have here and the time they take, not just doing their jobs, but coming and showing up and interacting with the students in other ways. We thought Q Camp was so successful for sophomores, we should build it out for juniors and seniors. So now there's a junior program, which really gets them ready for internships, and a senior program that helps them think about life after the Robbins School. We also have worked very hard, and faculty and staff have been amazing in helping us to do this, at building responses to our cap and gown survey. A few years ago, it was about 54%. This year, 98% of our students responded. Now, when you think about that, that's pretty important, because when 54% respond and a bunch of them have jobs, how can you possibly know how many of your students really have jobs? You know, are those other 46% none of them do? We didn't know. Now we have real hard data because we have responses from 98% of them. And we know we did better this year. We're going to do even, excuse me, better next year, but we are definitely on track to continue to improve. And I want to thank the people from Career Services. Frank Allen and Ashley Brock have been tremendous additions here. We have a centralized Career Services at the University of Richmond, but we have been able to give space to two Career Services advisors, and this year there will also be a peer advisor. The teacher side is what matters most to us in the Robbins School, and so teacher comes first. But it is a teacher-scholar model. And when I was putting these slides together, I think this is the one that astonished me the most. We do research level 1 university work in this school. Absolutely. What I tried to do here was look at what I'd call top 10 hits. We don't maintain a journal list. We don't maintain one, and we won't. It's not a great idea, I don't think. But that doesn't mean they're not out there. So what you can always do is say, oh, you're in marketing or you're in accounting. What are the best journals in your field? And that's where our faculty are publishing. So I went and looked at some of the lists and looked for areas where we had really hit the top ranks. These are articles that did exactly that. Really, really impressive scholarship. Of course, our scholarship is not limited to top academic peer-reviewed journals. We do a lot of other things too. So Tom Arnold wrote a book. Susan Cohen won an award at a conference. David Dean, I really thought it was important to recognize David here. We had said earlier we're raising money for a scholarship. He had passed away last year. He was known for his teaching within the building, but I don't know if everybody really recognized what a great scholar he was. And he has been recognized posthumously several times for the scholarship in rehabilitation services. Amit is Harvard Business School case, great. Monica and Nancy are going to be conference chairs. We do service associated with scholarship. Eric, I read your paper on LinkedIn, it was great. And Kim Marie is going to be co-editor of a journal. So all different kinds of ways that we participate in scholarship in the Robbins School. Richard Coughlin talked earlier about some of the things going on in the MBA, and he mentioned our capstone projects. So students spend several semesters working closely with a company, supervised by a faculty member who works very closely with them, and we do projects for companies. One of the most astonishing numbers to me when Richard and I have talked about capstones is that we've done over 400 of these in the past. So if you think about a university having an impact on its community, that's a pretty good impact when we are giving that free consulting, if you will, out to these businesses and helping them to grow or to do better or with their planning, and that's what our students and faculty are doing. So those are just examples of some of those capstones. We do a pretty big executive education business here. And executive education is changing. It's changing nationally. Public programs are no longer that popular. So those are programs where you say, okay, we're going to have a program in this, accounting for non-financial managers or something of that sort. Those are not attracting the audiences that they once did. But custom programs, programs where people want you to come in and do something, a company will hire you, that business is doing quite well. And the Robbins School, under Richard's leadership and Mickey's now directing executive education, we will be continuing to work on and grow that business. One program we do have that does very well, this might be on the next slide, nope, is our mini MBA program. I love that program. So it's a semester-long program that gives that nice overview of the MBA, and it's a certificate program, not for credit, but we always get a good enrollment in that program. We have a great speaker lineup, and I have to tell you, I really sweated this one. You know, at the beginning of the summer, Richard Coughlin, you'll see on the next slide, the C-suite conversations, he had all of his pretty much done by, I think, end of June. And I was sitting there, oh no, we don't have speakers. But boy, were we able to come up with some good ones after that. Carol Smith, Nancy Ridgway helped us. She met her when they took the marketing trip up to New York. Tom Joyce, it's great. One of the best sources of speakers for us. People say, how do you do this? The University of Richmond gets great students with great parents. So I always go and check and find out who the parents are and think about who might be a great speaker. So Tom Joyce will be joining us in that role this year. You may have remembered David Hall spoke last year. Bethany McLean, just a fabulous, fabulous person. Bethany was the person who called attention to the Enron scandal. So she wrote an article in Fortune magazine, Is Enron Overpriced? She did that when she was 27 years old. She's pretty remarkable. We actually showed the movie, The Smartest Guys in the Room, in this auditorium last year. And Bethany not only wrote the book, but she's also featured in the movie. So we're excited to have her here. Gary Moore, the president and COO of Cisco, will be coming and joining us this year. That one we owe to Kathy Munday, who works with Cisco and for the university, and she helped us with that. And Paul Quilly will be back with a panel on Word on Wall Street. We will have 6 C-suite conversations, and this is the program where Richard interviews high-level executives, C-suite level executives. He does that in this auditorium. It's the morning program, and what a great lineup he has this year. These are going to be wonderful people to get to hear from. So I'm very excited about the lineup of speakers, and I hope you all will come and also encourage all of your students to come as well. Our MBA students, we had something a little new this year, our very first dedicated graduation. For years and years and years, our 40-some MBA students have gone on over to the main graduation and listened to how many students, 1,000 students get diplomas and have their names called, that were not them. So it's great that we now were able to have our very own graduation. We did it in here. Everybody loved it. It was a wonderful success. The MBA, we just finished that new curriculum with just 45 credits. We welcome a new cohort of 36 students. We're maintaining quality here, absolutely. And these are some of the employees, and I did make a mistake there on my indentation. Sorry about that. But at any rate, it's going to be a great class, and they bonded evidently at their opening residency better than anybody's ever seen. I heard that the yakking on the bus on the way back was just amazing. So we're delighted to have this group, and it's off to a good start. Exec Ed, I mentioned the mini MBA already. We've hosted programs for CEOs of minority-owned businesses for 5 years and developed custom programs for many different organizations. And these are our 5 probably top organizations that we do provide services to in executive education. What are we going to do this year? Well, AACSB changed their rules in 2013. They came up with new standards. So we have to do a lot of things to get ready for that as well, and we've been working on that. The Academic Council met the other day for about 3 hours, and we went through some of that. We will do some more looking at our curriculum, the research phase, and some surveys. I know Jim Monks, who's our new Director of Accreditation and Assurance of Learning, is going to do an alumni survey, so that'll be helpful. We are doing some research on our MBA, trying to understand the market for our MBA program, and Staymates is helping us with that. We will be talking about research impact. Last year we did teaching evaluation. This year we'll be doing some work on research impact. AACSB standards now require that you demonstrate the impact of your scholarship. So we will have a task force that will be working on just that. We will roll out the new evaluation of teaching. We'll be making some tweaks or changes, maybe some pretty good ones, to our strategic plan. But again, we're just thinking about doing that for a couple of years until the university has a new plan as well. So, in short, the state of our school is, with many exclamation points, which I do happen to like to use very much, it's absolutely excellent. Thank you all so much for coming this morning.